There's nothing better than a good book on a rainy day. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Krystal TV. Today we are doing a book review of sorts. If you know my story, you know I was introduced to Feng Shui for a college research paper. So I went to the library and checked out every single book they had on Feng Shui. And that's sort of where I got my start. And I think it's where a lot of people get their start, is checking out a book from the library or with one book from somewhere. So today we are going to be reviewing all of the books from one of my local libraries. And we are going to start with 10-Minute Feng Shui, room by room. And so here we are on page 2, and already a glaring red flag. This here states that Feng Shui's power is rooted in your intentions, and that the cures are just tools to focus your mind. Neither of those things are true. Feng Shui is based in math, architecture, and design. Physics, mostly math. Yes, it has to do with your mindset, but that's not what its basis is. It is based in math. So it looks like we have learning the fundamentals in part 1 and applying cures in part 2. So let's just start with part 1, shall we? How it can help you. Yeah, here's a bunch of famous people. Let's see, we have cures that she discusses in chapter 3. Let's see, hundreds of cures. That's not really, there aren't hundreds of cures. There's 5, and they are the natural elements of Feng Shui: earth, metal, water, fire, wood. Elements. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Qi, yin and yang. But yin and yang is a specific school of thought, and it has to do with east-west theory. So this is just the very basics about what is yin and yang and what's the difference. Here she at least has the 5 elements. You can do an elemental. And here's what. If you notice a room contains too much. Okay, this is fake Feng Shui. Straight up right here. There is nothing to do with math in any of this. We've done no calculations at all. I want to see what chapter 3 has to say, because chapter 3 is where she supposedly gets into how to apply it to your home. Where is chapter 3? Fix your home, fix your life. All right. Assessing your home. Write down what you see. Properly activating cures. Yeah, this book right here is straight up fake Feng Shui. None of it is based in math or science. It's all just hocus pocus and a bunch of hooey. So I do not recommend this book, and I would go so far as to say I wouldn't recommend anything by this author. The next book we're going to look at is Spirit of the Bedroom by Jane Alexander. All right, what does Jane Alexander have to say? First steps. Bedrooms, highly personal. Alright, we finally are getting somewhere with some fundamentals. What is it? And it's all about the Bagua. Yeah, the Bagua this is where a lot of Feng Shui practitioners go wrong in understanding the Bagua. This is the easiest way to figure out if it's a fake Feng Shui or not, because it's the master trigram. And if you're not doing math to calculate, then your Bagua literally just means 8 squares, 8 sections. Different practitioners use the Bagua in different ways. If you see somebody saying that there's multiple ways to use their formulas, it's pretty much a good sign that it is fake Feng Shui. Math is math. 1 + 1 = 2. If there's many ways to do it and no rules, that's going to be fake Feng Shui. She does get some basics in here, you know, about beams and cutting of the energy, but a lot of them get some of those very basics in the book, but then don't get into the real heart of how to apply it. And so you're trying to apply a bunch of rules or a bunch of cures without the rules. You're trying to have answers without knowing what the rules are. She has a space clearing ritual, which has nothing to do with Feng Shui. It does have a lot to do with shifting the energy. You can do things to shift the energy for sure. So in here she's talking about wood. There's another good one. In wood, she's talking about wood furniture and using recycled wood. Wood furniture is not a wood remedy. Wood remedies are live plants. Wood furniture is dead wood. So it has the energy of dead wood and would never ever be used as a Feng Shui cure. Crystals, which she has under stone. Crystals are metal and stone is earth. Another no, fake feng shui. All right, book number 3, Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui. Well, I can't even spit that one out. Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui by Karen Kingston. Now, I've read several of Karen's books in studying clutter, and Karen does have some good things to talk about around clutter and around space clearing and around energy. This is one of the better books out there on clutter and feng shui. Not and feng shui, but one of the better books on clutter and shifting the movement of energy in your space. She doesn't really talk much about feng shui. What she does address about feng shui with the Bagua mat is, again, fake feng shui. But when she talks about clutter, she definitely gets it right. So this is one I actually do recommend reading, and it is one that is on my bookshelf and has been for a long time. I am a fan of Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui by Karen Kingston. Feng Shui in Your Apartment by Richard Webster. Well, Richard. Okay, here, page 4. This is called a Taiji. This Taiji is backwards, so that's a good sign to know that the book you're reading is full of fake feng shui. The Taiji the white does go up, but it should always be on the left-hand side because it relates to day and night, summer and winter, and the sun and east and west. And since the sun always rises in the east, you always know if the white is going up on the left-hand side of the Taiji, that is a correct demonstration of how that symbol is portrayed. So if you see it wrong, backwards like this, or upside down, that's a good sign that the book you're looking at is some fake feng shui. So what else can we find in here that is red cells? Compass School. Yeah, when they start talking about tigers and dragons and mythical tigers, dragons, turtles in relation to color, that is always fake feng shui. That comes from being hidden in poetry in its original form. When the original feng shui master escaped from the emperor's palace and brought feng shui to the people, they hid the teachings in poetry with a key to be able to decode them. A lot of people found the book, the poetry, and started creating their own fake feng shui methods because they didn't have the key, just like any other map. You need the key, you need the legend to decipher the code. So when they're talking about dragons and fire, or dragons in the south, or red dragons, anything like that, those things have to do with directions. The south is the direction of fire. Fire is the color of red, and a dragon was the poetic interpretation of trying to explain the south is fire. And so when you read about dragons or turtles or roosters in any of these, any book that you pick up, that is a surefire sign that it is fake feng shui. Feng Shui Your Apartment by Richard Webster is a huge no. All right, the Western Guide to Feng Shui, room by room. Now, Feng Shui is an Eastern philosophy. It's from China. And so, Western Feng Shui is not a thing. It's not a thing. Feng Shui is Feng Shui. Western Feng Shui is fake Feng Shui. That's essentially what it is. Because there is real Feng Shui and there's fake Feng Shui. The real Feng Shui is traditional. It's traditional classical Chinese Feng Shui. Those are going to be the words that you use to describe it. When you see Western or pyramid school, black hat feng shui, random person's name feng shui, those things are all going to be fake. Yeah, here she's talking about form school versus compass school, trying to claim that there's two different ways of doing feng shui. There's not. There's layers of feng shui where you do, your basic different layers of what you're looking at, but all of them involve math and direction and calculation, while saying that one is more of an art and the other is more of a science. Feng Shui is both an art and a science. Yeah, what she's saying is compass school feng shui, which is what relies on the lo pan, which is what the compass is. She's referring to those here, and then saying that form school is easier because it doesn't have the rules, but you still get great results. And she's developed her own personal method of essential feng shui. So we can just start by saying right there, that's going to be fake Feng Shui because there's no math involved. She doesn't think that the math is important to accomplish and that she gets good results with this fake Feng Shui method. And there is no doubt you will get some results with fake Feng Shui. It happens accidentally all the time. Sometimes we instinctively want to put things in the right place, and sometimes we instinctively put them in the wrong place because it is energetically in alignment with what feels good to us energetically, but it's in alignment with what's wrong inside. So I've read several of her books before, and this is her belief that it's okay to use fake Feng Shui and sell that to the masses. That really gets at the heart of the problem with most Feng Shui books in the West, and that it gets in the problem of a lot of corporate greed and it gets to the heart of people selling garbage to make a profit. And if you're selling lies just to make money, you're doing your audience a disservice, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the next book, Feng Shui for Dummies. Ooh, let's see what Feng Shui for Dummies has to say. Let's see. Many Feng Shui schools exist. The lesser known school of Feng Shui, Black Sect Feng Shui, which is what's used in this book, was developed recently. Right, he's very clear. I do not use the compass method. So you can set aside any concerns you have about your personal direction. The whole purpose of Feng Shui is to find your personal direction and then to align the energy of your home around that. It is to really make your home yours and not just apply some random arbitrary rules to your space. It is meant to be personal. It needs your birth date. It needs the birth date of your home in order to be calculated properly so that you know your personal direction and you know which elements and cures you need to add to your space, because that's another important factor. So this book, yep, dummies indeed, not for us. We are not interested in garbage Feng Shui. All right, and the last book on our list today is the Feng Shui Bible. So let's take a look at that. This is a big thick one. Okay, we're off to a good start. Here we are at least talking about the Chinese New Year, which is an essential part of calculating your own personal trigram as well as the trigram of your space. Bagua mirrors. Here we go. Bagua mirrors are not a thing. Once upon a time, mirrors were used as a cure or a metal remedy back when mirrors were actually made out of polished metal. In modern times, these days, mirrors are just glass. And so more accurately, they would be, you could use a mirror as a remedy if you needed water in a space, just like you could use water or glass vases or any number of other things, but a Bagua mirror is not a cure ever. It's not on the list of the 5 cures that Feng Shui uses, which again are earth, wood, fire, metal, and water. Some of what I'm seeing in here is just standard interior design rules, like the kitchen triangle, which doesn't have as much to do with Feng Shui as it does to do with ease of use. And I think we've moved beyond the realm of Feng Shui at this stage. We are about halfway through the book, and there is good information in here. There's a lot of good information in here about Feng Shui and about the different areas of your home. It does not, in fact, teach you how to do calculations, but it does talk about the flow of energy and directions and the different areas of your home and how things are affected. The second half of the book, it appears to be going into some Tai Chi, some yoga maybe. I don't know what the Alexander technique is. Not something I'm familiar with. Foot massage, meridian health, which has to do with acupuncture or acupressure. This again is good information just for health and healing, because the flow of energy in your body, the chi that is in your body and that animates you, the person, also does flow through your home, and you are kind of what gives it direction. And so all of your trauma gets trapped in your body. And therefore, that is sort of what's steering the boat, what's directing the energy. And so you do have to make sure that the energy in your body is also flowing. So when you have injuries or illness, you have blockages of energy flow in your body, which will be reflected in your environment, which is why Feng Shui is so important. But you can also use your environment to then impact your body by decluttering your space and rearranging your belongings into alignment with your personal power position. Then you truly create a space that works for you. And that is why it's so important to have accurate information out there, especially if you want to apply it in your space. So this book is one that I would say is a good one, but it doesn't tell you or teach you how to apply Feng Shui. It just sort of talks about the generals of how it works. This one looks like a good one. I may have to read this one a little bit more in depth and do a full review of this particular book. But I didn't see a lot of glaringly obvious fake Feng Shui in this one. I saw a lot of very good information, just there's a lot of missing information. So to claim to be the Bible, not so much, because it doesn't actually tell you how to use it or how to do the math yourself. So for that, you still need a professional. But all in all, not a bad book. So we are out of our books. We had 5 no's and 2 yeses out of the 7 books that we reviewed today. I hope that helps you with maybe finding a Feng Shui book of your own when you're at your library. What to look for to know if the book that you're picking up is real Feng Shui or fake Feng Shui. Let me know in the comments below what book you'd like me to review that you maybe have questions about. Is it real or is it fake? Let me know in the comments below and I will review them in another video. Bye for now.